Welcome back to Upper Michigan. Today we are with Andrew Wallner. Andrew, now before the break we were talking about, how people can save money, budget, and things like that. So when it comes to pay and people getting a new job, how important is it that people ask questions to better understand their salary, benefits, things like that, that they potentially could be missing out on?
Yeah, it's imperative. It's imperative that they understand the offer letter and they ask enough questions. Don't feel silly. Some people feel like they're pushing the employer, they're going too far. I think if you just ask those good questions that are for your benefit, you'll understand those things and then know what's the better option. A lot of people jump to another job because they go, well, this job's a so much better job, it's $1 an hour more. Well, if you don't understand what your current benefits are and what you're leaving behind, you might realize you're in totality not putting yourself in the best financial position, because you left for $1 an hour more, which seems very dreamy. It's going to save your life. It's going to change the world, get you more food to eat, right? But $1 an hour at 40 hours a week, it only equates to $2,000 more for the year, which is substantial. But if you're giving up health care, if you're giving up all these other benefits that you might not be seeing today in your paycheck, but they're there if, God forbid something major happens, you could be actually losing out a lot on that. But it's that stimulus, that dollar that's there, But even as you talk about budget and you talk about a new job, understanding what you had at your old job as well is huge. We see a lot of younger employers or younger employees and a lot of younger folks that have traditionally jumped jobs every couple of years. They say don't have the same job forever. Well, I've been at my job for 22 years. It's going okay. But if you're going to be somebody that looks for that next opportunity, looks for that next job, you got to make sure you understand also what you're leaving behind. I've got a lot of young folks that come in and they've left a job, and I ask them the question, did you roll over your retirement account? Yeah, I was putting some money in, they'll tell me, but I don't really know how to get after it. Well, you have to, and you don't realize those dollars that are left behind, they're still yours, and you can roll that into another account with a financial advisor and keep those dollars growing for you. And then as you grow in your career and whatever opportunities that come about, you just keep kind of adding to that pile from the employer plans. But that's why it's so important to understand what those benefits are that you aren't seeing today in your paycheck, and you don't necessarily get mailed to your house every month or every quarter, those statements, because there's some online account that you forgot the password for that you didn't set up. You have to be so astute in today's world with all this electronic access out there, knowing what your full package is.
So I know that we talked about when should people start putting money away for retirement. So how soon should people start seeking a financial advisor to help them with budgeting, or maybe even looking over a pay stub and things like that to help them to get to know how their money is looking like?
Yeah, and a lot of times with the financial advisors, they have their their criteria of customers that they want. To just stop into an advisor's office, I can't answer if they would take a meeting or not with you, but you will always have a financial advisor through your employer plan. So even if you don't know that you've got enough to have access to bring money to somebody else, whoever your employer is, they have a financial advisor behind that program. So sitting down with that financial advisor to first and foremost talk about the assets that you're putting in, what you're investing in, what you're doing with that, but also during that meeting, take the opportunity to use it to your full advantage to talk about what your long-term plans are. They can answer those questions for you, and the financial advisor, has a fee commission that they get for your dollars that are going in, so that advice is readily available to you, and it's included in the package of what you're paying for already.
Honestly, did I know that?
No, I didn't either.
Never would have thought of that.
Yeah.
That's crazy. See, I'm learning stuff. I hope you guys are learning stuff too, because I did not know that. Because like I said, with budgeting, sometimes it goes out the window when my stomach starts growling. So, it's kind of hard. But how does getting promotions and things like that impact somebody's financial stability? Like, how important is it to get that promotion?
Yeah, it's huge, obviously, to create those dollars and create that compounding dollar to your wage. And a little rule of thumb that I've helped a lot of customers through is you think about every year you're hoping to get a wage, inflationary or whatever it may be. But as long as you've got your budget figured out, we talked about the income side of it, then you jump into the spending and you figure out, make a spreadsheet, do whatever you need to do, sit down with pencil and paper and write down what your expenses are. But you think about that, your expenses don't change that greatly. Inflation can have an effect on it, of course, but your rent may be the same for 12 months. But now all of a sudden you get a pay bump. Well, you've been living off of these dollars. Why not every year you get a raise, put 1% more into your retirement account? It's shocking to see how fast just little changes like that. If you start at 3% because your employer matches 3%, but then you go to another 1% the next year. Well, now your 7% of your pay is getting put into this account. A general rule of thumb is to be putting about 10% away towards retirement. That is just a general boilerplate rule of thumb. It isn't going to achieve your success all the time, but it's just a starting place. So if you can get up to that point with the employer match, that's huge. So the promotions, as they come in, it's usually met with more money, and those are the opportunities to, again, boost those benefits that the employer has for you, and also get a little more tax deference and those sorts of things that can make your future financial plans a real success.
Nice. I know we just had a graphic on the screen. If we could put that graphic back on the screen really quickly. Yes, so yeah, just real quick, just to remind you guys of the financial tips that Andrew was talking about, you know, to understand your current level of spending, to also understand what you can afford, what you cannot afford, to review your employment offer, and to understand the benefits that are included in that employment offer so that you are not missing out on anything to that is referred to your financial stability. So we have to take another commercial break. Andrew, thank you so much for coming on and showing us or teaching us how to save more money. We have a DIY project in store for you guys at home to do with us. So stick around and we'll be right back.